Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rugby League Outsiders, and our set of 6 where we've got 6 interesting news stories from around the world of Rugby League outside the heartlands. My name's Craig.
And my name's Karl, and on this week's set of 6 we'll be talking about Leeds Rhinos going top of the Wheelchair Super League. We'll have a Midlands Roundup, and we're going to be discussing a hot topic with players potentially faking injuries.
Yeah, so really interesting talking points. But I've got to say, last week was just really dramatic in the world of rugby league podcasting. So many interesting stories and so many interesting talking points. And we've got some more of the same this week. So we're going to go straight into it. By the way, you may notice we're in a brand new podcasting studio. More on that later on. I want to start off with something else that was new, and that's Harry Robertson's debut at St Helens. Now, we was there at the match, but Karl, what was your take on this young lad's performance?
Well, it was incredible, to put it into a word. We took in the atmosphere, and we got there, and we was like, it was the first time we'd been to the Wigan Saints derby. The atmosphere was absolutely crazy. It was a pressure cooker of an environment. Team sheets came out early on. Lewis Dodd hadn't been selected, which was raised a few eyebrows. And then you got this young kid, 18-year-old kid, he's going to be playing his first ever game in the biggest derby of the year, Wigan v St Helens. Absolute pressure cooker of an environment. And you've got to say, he absolutely lapped it up. And he didn't just have a good game. He was actually one of the best players on the field, I thought.
I've got to say, I agree. I mean, when we were there watching, and it was like, it felt like a grand final. Like, you know what I mean? There was fire, there was like this mob choir that was just, it was just awesome.
It was an incredible day.
Flags everywhere, fireworks going off, 20,000 plus in the crowd. I mean, those people, you know, those negatrons online that are slagging off crowds at Super League matches should have been there. It was a massive crowd, all of them, you know, in full song. Great environment. But he didn't get off to a great start, did he? I mean, a couple of little mistakes. They really pressured him. However, he didn't let that get to him. The whole team, you could see, were just getting around him and encouraging him and what have you. And then once he started to settle down in, he's quick.
Yeah, it was that thing you spoke of last week. A young kid comes in, you pressurise him with kicks, don't you? Harry Smith did exactly that. I think he was a little bit shaky on one or two of the first ones, and then he took a couple of great high balls, and after that he was just into his stride, and he set up the first try for Wellesby. Great support play, burnt through and put the afterburns. He's got really quick feet. Put Wellesby through, and from then his confidence just seemed to go up and up and up. And one hell of a debut, and I think we're going to see a lot more of him as Super League grows. Yeah,
but it wasn't the only youngster that performed well. Obviously, Zach Eckersley, he got the
man of the match.
The player of the match, I think, is the term nowadays.
Oh, right. I do apologise.
But he had a cracking game as well, and I think his family were kind of sat in front of us. They were definitely all big fans of his. You know, were cheering for him. So
I think
he did really well.
It was essentially Wigan and St Helens. It wasn't the first team as such, or
no, there were definitely big players missing.
A load of players missing from both sides. I think Saints had 8 players missing who usually get selected. French and Field obviously weren't selected. We saw Bevan French, didn't we, before the game?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
More on that another day. Both sides were probably not at the strongest, but they both played incredible. It was still an absolute spectacle, and I would advise anybody who's potentially a neutral fan who's never been to the Wigan Saints derby, actually get down to it and give it, watch it. It's incredible.
Yeah, it was a brilliant match there. It was the first time I'd been to DW Stadium, you know, and all atmosphere was brilliant. So can't knock that at all. Okay, so from the heights of the Super League to the Midlands then, and obviously there's been a few, you know, little upsets and strange results in the Midlands as well.
You're saying strange results? I don't know if they are strange results. It's probably the closest Midlands league we've ever had.
But that's what I mean by strange. Like sometimes you have like outstanding teams that just run away with it.
Yeah, there's no runaway side this year. Nottingham are currently sitting top of the table.
Yeah.
Just 2 points clear of Telford. But the race for the playoffs is anybody's game. I'll bring the league table up right now on screen. So Nottingham Outlaws currently on 10 points, Telford on 8, Birmingham on 8, and then you've got Oxford and Coventry fighting it out for the playoff position with Sherwood, who have also got a game in hand. So the fixture's still to go. So it's very interesting, this. You've got Coventry have still got 2 games to go. They've got Oxford Cavaliers. That's going to be a huge game this weekend.
Yeah.
In the fight for the 4th place. And then Coventry play Swindon the week after. You would expect them to probably pick up a win there. And then Sherwood, who I didn't expect to be outside the top 4, currently find themselves sitting in 6th. They've got a very tough game against Nottingham this weekend. And then they play Leamington the week after. So, yeah, it's hard to call. We did catch up with Jamie Jones of Oxford Cavaliers, and here's what he had to say.
Jamie, thanks for spending a bit of time with us today. You must be quite excited about the result of the weekend.
Yeah, really, really good result of the weekend. Quite fortunate in the end, but yeah, it was good to get the win.
Jamie, talk us through it for anybody who doesn't know the result. How did the game go down? How did your lads go on this weekend?
It was a real tricky one this weekend. We built into the weekend off the back of some numbers weren't great. We were struggling. We managed to get to sort of 14 players on Saturday morning, which is the usual struggle at Cavs, unfortunately. But we mustered up and we got going into a game and we dealt with Sherwood quite well early on. We managed to get our noses in front on the scoreboard, and we were sitting quite comfortable. Actually, at one point in the game, we thought we had full control. Unfortunately, Sherwood weren't going to go away. They travelled well and they wanted to put in a performance. And late on in the second half, they sort of got 3 quick tries back, and we really under the pump. And without a bench, we sort of had to dig deep, and we sort of got to the last play of the game. It was a scrum, and we're very fortunate that we got a very talented fullback who had the balls to chip and chase his own kick and score with the last play of the game. So, and to kick it as well, which I thought was pretty impressive. So all in all, it was a really good performance, really dogged performance at times. We like to do it at Cavs. We're not the biggest squad. We don't have a lot of depth, but what we do have is a lot of character and a lot of resolve when we need it. So we're very proud of the efforts that all the players put in, and we're looking forward to getting over to Coventry and try and put our best foot forward and get a result there and remain in the playoffs and see where we go.
Jamie, not often do those chip and chase come off, do they? But what was you thinking when, like, he put foot to ball and then, dying seconds? What was going through your mind?
If he gets this, he's going to be man of the year, to be honest. He's player of the year again. Andy Cross, I'll name him. He's a very talented young man, to be honest, and we're very fortunate that he likes to play rugby league and he likes to play it with us. To have the balls to do that with the last play of the game sort of demonstrates the character of the man. But to get to that point, there was 12 other people that had a shirt on that wanted to do a job. So yeah. I think he had the backing of the team. The team were led well with Lowick running the show in Hart. He's our captain. He sort of steered us into that position in the first place. So credit to the whole team and credit to Andrew for getting us over the line when we needed it.
Jamie, it's fair to say that Oxford didn't start the season too well this year. You've kind of built into the season and got stronger as you've gone on. Has there been any sort of turning point this year in the league?
No, I think the turning point is, and I'm sure it's the same for a lot of Midlands-based clubs, is that when the union season finishes and the guys that have come out of that county programme that most of them are in, the squad seems to strengthen a little bit there. So sometimes we do get a bench when we're really lucky. And I think on those occasions, that's when we've had our best results. Obviously, we played Telford at home, which was a real tough gig. I mean, Telford are a very strong team. They've done really well. So we've won all of our home games, which is a good thing, obviously. We'd like to have beaten everyone, but that's we don't deserve that, right? We've got to go and work for it. So all in all, I just say that our squad come together when we needed it, and we've got the results when we've needed them most. So that's where we're at.
Jamie, how would you sum up the Midlands League in its entirety this year? I mean, like, for example, Karl and I were talking yesterday and we're sort of saying, look, this is probably the most competitive league we've ever had in the Midlands. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had a couple of chats offline, haven't we, before, where we've met each other and we've said that it's never been this good. I mean, I've been in the Midlands since I was 16 playing rugby league, and teams that have gone by, and I've never seen it as competitive as this. I've never seen as many teams as this. I've never seen the scores. It was almost a guarantee you'd win all your home games. You might lose a couple of away games, but this time it's very competitive wherever you go. Hopefully, it'll just go on again in strength next year.
Last year, Oxford, you fell away a little bit at the end. You got one game to go. Do you think you've got what it takes this year to sort of make that top four?
I really do, yeah. Like I say, we are a dogged bunch. They really are quite determined. When we can get our best team out there and we can get to 20, we believe we're probably right up there. We deserve to be in that top four, top five. So hopefully, I mean, Coventry is going to be a tough test, right? No one seems to roll Coventry over at home. So, we're under no illusion it's going to be an easy task. We know it's going to be very, very hard, and we're going to respect that, and we're going to respect Coventry. But if we can get everyone in, I'm sure we'll compete.
And last thing, Jamie, you're also involved with the Midlands Hurricanes women's team. You also played with us this weekend. How did it go, and how's your squad building? I know it's a development squad, but how are you getting on?
Well, it's very much that. It is very much a development squad, and this year is just about developing opportunities to get these women out and play in rugby league. We obviously went well at your guys' festival. We managed to reach the final in that, and that was a real good event, and we done really well. We felt really proud of ourselves after that. We went down to Cambridge, Cheltenham, and played there, and got a good result there. This weekend was slightly different because we sort of come out of our comfort zone and went and played a Nines festival down at Bristol. It was a bit of an acid test. We were a little bit weakened in our depth again. We travelled with 9, and the first result against Bristol sort of really got away from us. There was definitely a difference in calibre, should we say? But we kept our integrity and we kept going. But we were quite a distant second in that match. And then we played West Warriors, a great bunch of girls. They're very much like us. They've just got a bit more depth. And we competed really well. It was a really well contested game, to be fair. That ended up 24-18. So, we're building the right way. What I would say is that our next big test is the Navy. At the end of this month, we play the Royal Navy over in Bourneville on the 28th. So if there's anyone that wants to come along and watch that, that'll be a spectacle, I'm sure. And then we've got to host our festival at the Alex, which again, I'm hoping, a lot of the Midlands teams will come along and have a dig at. So, lots to look forward to on both camps, to be honest.
Brilliant. Jamie, best of luck with both Oxford and the Hurricanes. You're obviously doing a great job there, getting these teams on the pitch and, doing the right things, right time. So, good effort, and we'll be keeping it out of your results.
Well, spot on. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks for taking time to call in.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, as the Rugby League Outsiders, we're never too far away from Bradford news. You hailing from, Bradford, and Odsall's always got a special place in your heart, but it's a centre point in Rugby League news this week, Karl.
Yeah, so Bradford Bulls have reacquired the lease from the RFL, which has gone down without a lot of controversy, really. £100,000 they've paid for the lease. I don't know if you consider that good value or not, but the RFL paid $1.2 million for it 10 years ago. So it's opened a lot of debate amongst rugby league fans. Obviously, the RFL have made a huge loss on that. Not a good bit of business, really, is it?
On the outside, no. I mean, you've got to ask yourself, what is rugby league without Bradford? Do they need to give them the lease in order for Bradford to secure the Bradford's future and existence? Yes. You know what I mean?
I think that's the reason it was bought in the first place, to stop anybody outside parties coming in and buying it and turning it into whatever.
Even more of a speedway track or whatever. But, so I think, with the context around it, I mean, Bradford weren't in a position to do anything with it when the Super League when the RFL bought it, sorry. So, yeah, on the surface, it doesn't look like a good bit of business at all. You managed to turn 1.2 million into 100,000, and the 100,000's worth a lot less now than it was 12 years ago. Yeah. So, you got to question that, but then you've also got to think...
Yeah, it's not just 100,000. I think it's 100... They've got to make another £160,000 payments over 5 years. But that is actually coming out of the Bradford Central funding money, so...
Yeah, weird.
They're not really paying for it. They're just getting less central funding, essentially. Look, I think it's great as a Bradford fan. You know, Odsal will always be the home of Bradford. The stadium is in massive need of repair, though.
Well, this is my point. It's like, what have you actually bought there? It's like, it's like going
massive concrete ball, mate.
Yeah, it's like
with
going
a mud track round it.
An old VW camper, and you think, when it's done, it's worth 30 grand, and then when you get it, it's an absolute rust bucket, and it costs you bloody 45 grand to sort it out. So, you know what I mean? It's like, what have you actually bought? What's it going to take to turn it into a stadium, of worth, or a cauldron again of where people want to go and watch rugby league? It's a big old task. So, and there's a lot of history there, so it'd be a shame for it to.
Yeah, it's. The other thing I suppose you could argue is, it might have been worth 1.2 million when the RFL bought it, but it's not really had any development for 10 years, so the value of it's gone down.
Oh yeah,
I don't think it's gone down by that much, but it's took a massive dip. Yeah, they're obviously going to need to develop it to get into Super League, but the fact that they own their own ground again is more IMG points. And I think there's a few Super League teams now need to be a little bit worried because there's more than one club in the Championship who are going to be pushing for sort of decent IMG points now.
So you threatening Super League with Bradford Bulls then?
Yeah. Well, you've got Wakefield, I think, are without doubt the front runner to make the change back into Super League. Probably going to see London dip out with this year, but Castleford aren't really safe, and you've got Toulouse on their heels with IMG points, and I'd say you've definitely got Bradford on their heels as well.
Yeah,
I don't think you'll see either of those two go up this year. I think it'll probably be Wakefield this year, but the year after, who knows?
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting end to the season this year. So anyway,
Bulls for Super League.
That's the call. Okay, moving on then. So just slightly, a couple of miles away is obviously Headingley, and now we've got some Leeds wheelchair news.
It is Headingley. They don't play at Headingley though, do they?
No. I needed to link it somehow.
You needed a hook. Yeah, Leeds Rhinos have gone top of the league, defeating London Roosters this week, so they are currently sitting top of the Super League table, wheelchair Super League table. Let me get it right. Beating London Roosters this weekend. So James Simpson, the new head coach of Leeds, up against the what would we describe Tom Coyd, the Jedi Master?
Yeah, well, he's
Jedi Master of wheelchair rugby league coach.
I'm sure he'll like that.
Leeds have played.
Not sure James Simpson will like that.
Leeds have played every side, and they've won all 4 games. And Wigan, who were last year's champions, are currently sat in 4th position. Yeah,
so same again there. We talked already about Midlands League being much more exciting and close, and it's obviously a very, very similar thing in the wheelchair world now, where teams are starting to compete and you're getting more and more close results.
Yeah, it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be an incredibly exciting season. So I'll bring the league table up on your screen at the minute. Leeds Rhinos currently sat on 8 points. Halifax Panthers on 3, London Roosters on 2, Wigan Warriors on 2, and Hull FC on 1 point. I hope that is right, because there was no table on the Super League website and there was no table anywhere else. I actually had to fish around for all the results to
you've put this together.
I had to compile that, yeah. I think it's right. I think it's right. So if this goes out and everyone starts messaging me saying your wheelchair rugby league table's miles off, I do apologise, but I do think that is right.
Okay, I mean, isn't that a talking point its own right? There's no obvious results table that we can look at.
Well, yeah,
or find easily.
On the Super League website, you've got the Men's Super League, Women's Super League, a Wheelchair Super League, and the Wheelchair Super League table just hasn't ever been updated. It's just a blank page.
So if you know, like, where do you go for your wheelchair news? You know what I mean? Where's those tables posted? And let us know in the comments.
The scores are on there, but there's just no league table being generated.
Right. Okay.
So
that's weird.
Must do better, somebody.
Okay, moving on. Talking of must do better, some little shitbag fans at the league game this weekend.
Well,
Karl.
I wasn't going to call them that, but I'll let you go ahead.
Well, with respect, I think
with respect, it's pretty terrible. So between the Lee and Huddersfield game this weekend, there was, funnily enough, I think it was the same day the referee campaign came out, or there was a video. It was either that day or the day before. There was a video go out which was incredibly powerful. with all the referees talking about the online abuse that they've received and things that have been said to them. There's a few little jokes in there, which I thought was quite nice.
If you haven't seen that video, we'll stick a link below. But it's quite a powerful video, and it does make you think. I mean, there's some horrific things. I know you get the keyboard warriors. We've had it. Lots of people have had it where, because there's that screen between people, they think they can just write whatever they want. But, some of these things are horrific. And so watch that video and you'll get a feel for that.
Yeah, so it was literally that weekend this video came out. It was incredibly powerful. Referees realise that the human beings and what things that have been said to them, they take it on. And then the same day, Huddersfield and Lee are playing. There's a try goes in at the corner, and loads of Lee kids just absolutely just abusing the referee. And what was more shocking about it, I don't know if you've seen this, one of the Rugby League banter pages posted it on their website, and it appears like the mother of one of the children actually tagged, posted it on Facebook.
And was proud
basically
of it.
Saying, look at my kid slagging off the referee or something. I thought it was absolutely terrible. Did you see that?
I'm speechless. When I watched it, I was like, what the hell is going on? I mean, you've got kids there. I don't know how old they are, between 5 and 8, and they were just shouting, twat, twat, twat. You know what I mean? Swearing signs, and there was worse language. And then the first thing you see is this young lady come down with a Lee Leopard's bucket hat on, just shouting all sorts at the referee, complete disrespect. In fact, they look like a young angry mob. That's what it was like. You know what I mean? I've seen mobs that have just worked up into a frenzy, and that's what it's like now. So many talking points and so many ways that we could trip ourselves up, because fundamentally these are under 16s, under 18s that we're talking about. But it's just not a behaviour that is fitting. Like I tell people all the time that a rugby league crowd is a family environment. Now that is not a family environment, and you must do better. Like, parents need to get around that. I don't think I'd like to think other adults would say, listen, come on lads, you know what I mean, or come on kids, just sort it out. But then you're in dodgy ground, especially if it turns out that this mother is proud of these. Well,
let's just say that's allegedly.
There's
no proof there, but allegedly that's what's happened. Hopefully Lee will make some sort of statement, or they will do something to encourage better crowd behaviour, because there has been problems at Lee before. It's no surprise that that's where it's happened. So hopefully they go out and tackle this head on. I would have thought.
Well, it needs to happen across all clubs. Like, it's just not acceptable in any form. I always remember I was at Magic Weekend once, and there was a group of young lads, and they were much older than these kids. They were drinking, but they must have been like 18, 19, very, very young, and they were absolutely slating Keith Senior. Right.
Yeah.
Now, slating a player is one thing, right? But actual verbal abuse is a lack of respect, right? So, and the fans next to him, they were like, dare I say it, football yobs in a rugby crowd. And fans around them were like, lads, enough's enough. You've gone. And they were all Leeds fans. So they were like the same fans of the same club, and they called them out on it. And they were like, that's not acceptable. And then it stopped. So we can do it. We've just got to do better. So
must do better, Lee.
Yeah. That's
Williams Weekly. This is a really big talking point.
Yeah. So when we was at the game, Saints Wigan, we become very aware that there was obvious play acting going on. I mean, it happened 3 or 4 times.
Without doubt.
And it resulted in players getting 5 minutes in the bin, 10 minutes in the bin. Do you know what I mean? It was just, it had an effect on the game. And I think this is the issue, isn't it? What it's led to now is very regular bits of play acting, because they know if players hold the face and lie on the floor, that gives the video referee time to have a look at what's going on, pull out, in the letter of the law, this breaks the law, therefore we need to deal with it, and it always looks so much worse in slow motion.
Yeah.
And
who was the first player that went down?
I can't remember, but it was Matty Lees that had to walk. He walked, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, the first one was like, it was just a little bit of a slap on his face, and he went down injured, like he couldn't get back up.
But a slap on the face is like, it is contact with the head, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I don't...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's contact with the head, and then there's contact with the head.
Yeah, and they're obviously trying to stamp it out, but going down like you've just been shot in the face... It was shocking. I thought it was really shocking. Actually, it was just purely playing for a penalty. In the letters of the law, it was a penalty. He got a little tap on the face, but I could see straight away. I was like, "There's no way he's staying down from that." And after the penalty and after someone's got sent to the bin, he's back up and he's powering it in on the next set of 6. So it was terrible. And like you say, it happened over and over again. And the players were actually, they could see they were playing for it, weren't they? In the second half, it was like, okay, if I go down, that's it. The referee's got to stop the game. I know I've had a bit of a brush on my cheek or whatever. I'll stay down like I'm really injured, and then the video ref has to get involved. Then I just don't like it at all.
No, I don't like it, and I don't like the commentators. Even if you think about like the words they use, they say, "Oh, such and such won a penalty."
Yeah,
like it's a competition. Like you should be winning a penalty. You should be awarded a penalty because you've been fouled. You know what I mean? Or you should receive a penalty because you've broke the code. It shouldn't be like I've won it. You know what I mean? Like a prize.
Yeah.
Although it is a prize, it does have an effect on another player off the pitch for 10 minutes is massive in any game. So, however, anyway, what do we do about it?
Well, the NRL have tackled it head on, haven't they? This was happening in the NRL last year, and the NRL's got more stoppages for the bunker than Super League. I can't stand it. But one thing they did sort of implement this year was like, well, if you've been hit on the face and you've seen that you're injured, that's it, you're off. You're 15 minutes on the bench. And once they introduce that, all of a sudden...
Yeah.
There's a lot less people playing for penalties. So the NRL have got it right. That's something we have to copy, and we need to bring it in quickly because it's getting a bit of a joke, I think.
Well, I dare say that'll be a rule that's introduced at the end of the season.
It'll probably happen next season, but it should be brought in now because that was the only downside of such a great Wigan Saints derby. Was the play acting for penalties, and it happened on a number of occasions.
Do you think they can bring it in now, mid-season? Something like that? I mean, it's quite a drastic change, isn't it?
I don't see why not.
I know it's easy to correct that behaviour, just don't play for the penalty. But, it seems like a big rule change for me. I don't know if you can implement that mid-season.
Well, I think you can because I think you say it's been done to protect players from concussion. If you've got a head injury, then... you have to go off. Simple as that. Bring it in.
I don't know. I'm lost. I'd like to take a group average. So, what does everyone think? Do you think it's a rule? I mean, I think we can all agree that is something that we need to act on and a rule that needs to be brought in. However, can we implement it now? Therefore, cut it out for the rest of the season, or is it something where it needs to be like pre-season, adapt to that kind of thing? The more I'm talking, the more I'm thinking we could just bring it in now. But I'm really interested in what other people think about that. So that's it.
That's the roundup, innit? Pretty much.
Obviously, we spoke before about being in the new look studio. So we've put a lot of time and effort into creating a space that is dedicated to creating the Rugby League Outsiders podcast and all the different videos and news and everything that we do. So here we are. This is definitely a shot across the bow that we're here to stay, and if anything, we want to progress and build this. Now, in order to do that, we really need to know that we're on the right track, and the best way that you can let us know that we're on the right track is by hitting that subscribe button. We're very, very close to being monetized. It doesn't cost you anything in order for us to be monetized, but it just means that we can start building a little bit of coffers to deliver a high quality, interesting, engaging news story, which is what we always aim to do. And we can also get out on the road and visit teams and visit games, and report back on them. So fundamentally, that's what we want to do. So subscribe, that helps. Like, and please share it to everybody that is a rugby league fan. You know what I mean? You don't just have to be in the Midlands or whatever to enjoy our show. So, any other points, Karl, or anything you want to say on the back of that?
No, just the fact that we're going to be in a dedicated studio now, and this is going to allow us to almost react to news in real time. So there will be more videos coming out from the Rugby League Outsiders. It won't be just a one show a week and a podcast. There'll very much be live news, won't there, every now and then. We can't promise when that's going to happen, but there will be a lot more. So if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get a notification when we're dropping another video out. So yeah, it's exciting times.
Okay, so as always, thank you very much for watching. Comment on those things that we've mentioned earlier, and we'll see you in the next video.